You are sitting with 6 people at a table. Everyone is talking. You are mostly listening. You assume that makes you the least noticeable man there. Then you say one dry sentence, and the woman across from you laughs like she had been waiting for you to speak. Quiet men miss this. Saying less can make women read you more carefully. Here is why. 1. Your words arrive with contrast. In a loud group, everybody's voice starts becoming part of the same background. Stories overlap. Opinions appear before the last opinion has finished. Then you say one sentence. Silence created space around your words before they arrived. You did not announce that your opinion mattered. The room simply had less of it, so when it appeared, it was easier to register. She may remember your one dry comment while forgetting 10 louder ones from someone else. You thought you barely participated. From her side, yours was the line that broke through. You can see it in the way she looks toward you after the laughter settles, as if there might be another sentence behind the first one. The quiet did not erase you. It made your contribution easier to separate from the room. 2. The one-on-one version of you has more detail. The group breaks up. Now the two of you are waiting for a ride or walking toward the parking lot. Suddenly the conversation is different. You are still not talking nonstop, but your answers are longer. You tell her why you chose your work, what you really thought about the evening, or the strange reason you keep an old watch even though it barely works. She realizes your quietness was not emptiness. The room simply was not entitled to every layer of you. That shift can feel personal, even when you did not design it to. She is meeting a version of you that the whole group did not get. The change also answers a question she may have been carrying all evening. You were not withholding because you had nothing to say. You were waiting for a conversation that felt worth entering. For attraction, that difference matters. Access feels more intimate when it was not distributed equally to everyone. 3. You let her finish the version of the story she actually wanted to tell. She starts explaining something that happened at work. Halfway through, there is an obvious place to jump in with your own story. You do not. So she keeps going and reaches the part she was really trying to get to. Women remember who gives a conversation room to unfold because being allowed to complete a thought is rarer than people think. She notices that she did not have to fight your next sentence to finish hers. An indifferent listener can be silent because he has checked out. A quiet man who is still following the details feels completely different. His silence says, "I am still here. Keep going." 4. Your real reactions carry more information. Someone makes a joke and the whole table laughs. You smile, but you are not the loudest person in the room. Later, she says something under her breath that only you hear. This time, you genuinely laugh. She notices the difference. When a man reacts to everything at full volume, each reaction carries less information. With a quieter man, the changes become clearer. She can tell what actually got through to you. A real laugh tells her she reached you. A thoughtful answer tells her the subject landed. A small moment of surprise becomes visible because it is not buried under constant performance. You are not always harder to read because you are quiet. Sometimes the contrast makes you easier. The first 4 explain why a quiet man can register without competing for the room. The next ones explain why a woman's curiosity can deepen after everyone else has stopped trying to pull words out of him. 5. You do not decorate every opinion. Someone asks whether you like the restaurant. You say, "The food was good. The place was too loud for me." That is it. No 5-minute defense, no attempt to persuade the entire table to agree. No sudden retreat because someone else loved it. Women notice when an opinion seems to belong to the person saying it. Quiet men often reveal themselves in compact statements because there is less verbal packaging around them. The interesting part is not that you dislike a noisy restaurant, it is that she can locate you. There is a preference, an edge, something specific enough to remember. 6. Your attention feels specific when it arrives. You have not spent the night trying to keep every woman engaged. You are listening to different people, checking your phone once, watching the game over the bar, living inside the same room as everybody else. Then she tells you something, and your attention settles on the conversation. You ask one follow-up that proves you heard the point instead of waiting for your turn. That can land harder than 5 minutes of generic charm. Women can feel the difference between calculated withholding and a person who simply does not spray attention everywhere. When your focus is real, she does not have to wonder whether you use the same performance on every person in the room. Someone interrupts. The television gets loud. Another conversation starts beside you. A few minutes later, you return to the exact point she was making. You were not staring at her or performing concentration. You simply kept the thread. For a woman deciding whether your quietness means distance or depth, that small return can answer the question. In the moment, it looks like one remembered detail. From her side, it feels like proof that your attention had somewhere specific to land. 7. Disagreement does not turn you into a contestant. She says she loves a film you cannot stand. You tell her why it did nothing for you. She pushes back. You laugh at one of her reasons and still disagree. Nothing has to be won. Quiet men are often underestimated here. People assume less talking means less conviction. Sometimes it means the conviction does not need 12 extra sentences to survive disagreement. She gets to see an opinion with edges without being recruited into a debate she never asked for. You are not agreeing to please her. You are not fighting to overpower her. You are simply still yourself after she disagrees. That is a much more interesting person to keep discovering. 8. She realizes you are paying attention long after she assumed the moment passed. A week later, she mentions the terrible meeting she was worried about. You ask how it went. She pauses because she does not remember making a big deal out of it. She mentioned it once, somewhere inside a longer conversation. That is when quietness gets reinterpreted. She may have wondered whether you were reserved because you were bored, distant, or somewhere else in your head. Then you bring back the exact detail that mattered. Now she knows the silence was not absence. You were there. And for a woman who is already curious about you, that can be the moment a quiet man stops feeling unreadable and starts feeling worth reading. That is what quiet men often miss. Women do not only notice the man who fills the room. We notice contrast. We notice who lets a thought finish, whose real reactions have weight, whose opinions sound like his own, and whose attention turns out to have been present even when his voice was not. You may remember the night as the night you barely said anything. She may remember the 3 things you did say. If you've reached this far, type still waters in the comments. I'll know you understand why quiet never means unnoticed.